Hello and welcome back to Democracy, everybody. Welcome back to Helldivers 2, where today we're going to be going over the top 10 best stratagems, at least in my opinion, for new players to start unlocking. Now, this isn't to de-incentivize you from unlocking any other stratagems, and if you get more points, especially towards some of the later part of this list, feel free to spend them on absolutely anything that you would like, especially if you just want to try stuff out, because a lot of the fun from this game comes from just trying out all the different weapons, the stratagems, all the different tactics that you can kind of use on different mission types. We're also not going to be going over any stratagems that come from war bonds. There are still some really good ones in some of the war bonds, and I would like to have an honorable mention of the Lift 182 Warp Pack. This one is really good. This one is from the Control Group war bond, and it is very useful, especially if you like playing solo a lot, because you can farm things like bunkers thanks to this backpack. It's also very useful in heavy armor. Also, before we start out this list, this won't be going over the Precision Strike or the machine gun that you get at very start. Both of those are really good. The machine gun is actually a very solid weapon for dealing with just about everything on really every difficulty. It's very nice. And the Precision Strike is arguably one of the best orbitals in the game because it comes up super fast and can knock out just about anything in the game. Let's start our list, and we're just going to go right down from the lowest leveled up to the highest leveled one. Starting out at number 1 and also at level 1, I'd highly recommend that you pick up the Gas Strike. The Gas Strike is a 4-button input. It has a 75-second cooldown on it, so it comes up very quickly. And this one drops a projectile that does have impact damage, so you can use this to close up bug tunnels. You can use it to direct impact like the Illuminate ships. You don't even need to take their shield off. You can also take out the bot factories with this one, and then it also sprays poisonous gas all over the place. The poisonous gas causes enemies to take damage slowly over time, as well as it confuses them to attack one another, so it's very good. This one is particularly strong against the bugs and the squids. It's fairly strong against bots too, don't get me wrong, because it comes up so often. The second stratagem is the Eagle Strafing Run. This one is also available at level 1, and this one is fantastic as well. This one is, I think, the cheapest of the stratagems, coming in only 1,500, so you can get this one right away, and it's arguably like the best eagle in the game, or one of the best eagles in the game. 3-button input, you get 4 of these. You can have a 5th one if you get an upgrade for your ship, so that's really cool. And you just throw this out. It has heavy machine gun fire on it, which does have heavy armor piercing, so it can hurt pretty much everything in the game. It's not going to be able to kill everything in the game outright. Like, one Eagle Strafing Run is probably not going to be able to kill a Titan, maybe not even kill a Charger. You can definitely kill an Impaler. It's almost guaranteed to kill an Impaler if you throw it directly in front of it. This one comes up super fast. You can spam it out. It's basically never going to be a bad stratagem because it does have some synergy against big enemies, but it has a lot of synergy against small and medium enemies, and that's usually what you're going to be fighting the majority of, even into like the very high difficulties. The Eagle Strafing Run is extremely solid. Coming in at number 3, also at level 1, we have the Orbital Gatling Barrage. This one also comes in at 1,500. Sorry about that with the Strafing Run. I guess these are exactly the same. This one has a 70-second cooldown. This one is a 5-button input, so it's a little bit more. You throw this one out, and then it just starts raining down machine gun fire on top of enemies. This one can have also up to heavy armor pen. Some of the machine gun fire doesn't count as that, and it also depends if you're direct hit by this or if it just hits near you, because you can still take some of the impact damage if it hits near you. The Gatling Barrage comes up very quickly. It comes up super often, so you can use it in pretty much any situation, and it gives fantastic crowd control. This one is especially good on the bug and the squid missions, simply because if you see a whole bunch of squid running down the street, or really running anywhere, you throw this in front of them, and it should just kind of mow them down. It's really good for that. Same thing goes with the bugs. If you see a bug breach, throw this on top of it, and it's probably going to kill everything there, unless you get unlucky and there's like a bunch of Titans or something spawning out of that. Aside from that, though, the Gatling Barrage is fantastic, and I actually really like running all 3 of these in combination, particularly on bug missions. Like, run Gas Strike, Eagle Strafing Run, Gatling Barrage, and then I'll take like usually a weapon on top of this, maybe something like EATs or even like the starting machine gun. And I usually don't have very many problems. That build has a ton of crowd control. It's not really the best for killing big things, but the crowd control is pretty insane, so I can kill all the small and medium bugs no problem. And if I got somebody on my team that has like anti-tank abilities, they can kind of clear them up. Coming in at number 4, also available level 1, the Eagle Airstrike. This one does cost more, coming in at 4,000 requisition slips. This one's a 4-button input, and you don't get as many of these as the Strafing Run. This is where the Eagle flies in from either left to right or right to left, and will drop down bombs upon the enemy. This is pretty useful for breaking up crowds, but it's also really useful for doing objectives, mostly for closing bug tunnels, for blowing up bot factories, or for blowing up Illuminate ships. It's really good so long as you're not really using this inside of either the jungles or you're using it inside of like the cities. Then it can be a little bit awkward, but that's not going to be most of the maps you're playing on. So you can definitely use this in most of the situations. And even on those maps, it's not necessarily bad because you got multiple uses of them. And it's also fairly unlikely you're going to blow yourself up with this unless you run directly into the fire. Coming in at our number 5 spot, we have the EAT-17 Expendable Anti-Tank rounds. These things are pretty awesome. These are available at level 3 and will only cost you 3,000 requisition slips. They are actually the cheapest weapon to unlock in the game, aside from the machine gun, which you start out for free. This one's a 5-button input, and you actually get 2 of these. These also have the shortest cooldown out of any of the weapon stratagems too, at only 70 seconds. And this is very, very useful because you get 2 anti-tank weapons that you can call in almost all the time. It's very rare for you not to have these up unless you just recently threw them out. And the EATs, you just pick them up, you fire it once, and then that's it. It's an expendable round. So you just toss it away, and then you can pick up the second one and fire it. This can be really good. It's extremely strong on defense missions, but it can also be really strong if you want to use it offensively too, because you can even use the stratagem as a weapon if you want. Simply hold it a little bit longer, and then you can toss this onto something like a charger or a Hulk, and it'll come crashing down, probably kill it, more than likely kill it, and then you get 2 expendable anti-tank rounds that you can blow up potentially 2 other things like chargers or Hulks with. Because the EATs one-shot a ton of things in this game. This can one-shot the dropships, it can one-shot the gunships, it can one-shot the tanks, it can one-shot chargers, it can one-shot titans if you hit them in the head. The only thing that it can't one-shot that I can think of, some things it doesn't consistently one-shot, like sometimes the tanks it won't consistently one-shot, it depends on where you hit them. But the only enemy that it can't really one-shot is once again the Factory Strider. At least that's in the game currently. Pretty much everything else it can one-shot, so it's very useful for that. And the best thing about it is that this weapon stratagem in particular, you can take with other weapon stratagems, because you're probably not going to be using this as your primary weapon. So you can bring like the machine gun and the EATs and just fire the EATs out when you need them and call them in whenever you need them, and teammates can pick them up too. Coming in at number 6, we have the Recoilless Rifle, available at level 5. I'm kind of surprised the Recoilless Rifle is this like low leveled because it's really strong. The Recoilless Rifle is arguably one of the strongest weapon stratagems in the game, at least ever since they buffed it, because it used to be just kind of okay. Now it's really good. The Recoilless Rifle is a 5-button input, and this one does have the same cooldown as pretty much all the other weapon ones, and this one's going to cost you 6,000 requisition slips. You also are going to be giving up your backpack slot whenever you take this, because the Recoilless Rifle is there, and it's very similar to like the Expendable Anti-Tank rounds, where you can fire it once, but you can reload this. You just need the backpack, and the backpack holds 5 rounds in it. You also get the one-shot it, so you get 6 in total, and this is very powerful. You also can switch between the ammos that you're firing out of this too, where you can either fire anti-tank rounds or high explosive rounds. High explosive rounds are better for crowds, anti-tank rounds are better for individual targets. This can take out almost everything in the game as well. Anything that the EATs that I just mentioned can take out, the Recoilless can also take out. You can also kind of reload cancel the Recoilless too, because you don't have to go through the full reload animation. If you have 2 people with this, it honestly doesn't matter, and it would just be faster to just keep shooting while that person still has ammo that can keep loading you up. If you're doing this solo though, once you fire it and go to reload, you'll notice that as soon as the round is placed in before your person actually locks the gun shut, it'll actually count as reloaded. So if you swap to a primary, secondary, or something, then you'll put the Recoilless away and then you can swap right back to it. So you actually can get into the fight a lot faster with the Recoilless Rifle. But this one is fantastic. It's really good for knocking out things at a distance. It doesn't have too much drop, but if you're shooting this at really long distances, you do have to account for the projectile slowly dropping over time. If you're aiming for, let's say, like the Spore Carrier, the giant mushroom out in the distance, you don't really need to aim that much different. Kind of just aim center of mass and just maybe a little bit above it, and the Recoilless should hit it at just about any range. And speaking of another top tier stratagem, at number 7 I'd recommend the 120 HE Barrage. This one is a 6-button input, has a 180-second cooldown on it normally, and is available at level 5. It'll also cost you 4,000 requisition slips. This one is probably the best of these type of barrage. It's potentially better than the 380 Barrage simply because it has a shorter cooldown, and it can be better than the Walking Barrage, although the Walking Barrage you're going to be using in a different send. Either way, this one's a pretty simple stratagem. You throw it out, and then you'll mark an area, and then that will just be barraged by shells. This does a lot of damage. You don't want to be near that. Generally, the safe distance from these barrages is 50 to 60 meters. You can tell how far they are away. If you look at the stratagem, it will say how far away where that stratagem is. This one's really good for closing up bug tunnels. It's really good for destroying like the factories. It can be really good for knocking out illuminate ships. Pretty much the way you want to use this is whenever you see a large grouping of things that you need to blow up, run over there, throw your 120, and then back away from it, and you can usually wander off and do some other stuff while that barrage is actually going, because it should get you a decent amount of value so long as you throw it in an area that's okay. The 120 barrage, the 380 barrage, napalm barrage, and like the walking barrage are all really good for knocking out stuff. I think the 120 is the best of those though, simply because it has the shortest cooldown, so you can use it the most often. And most of the time, generally speaking, you don't need something like the 380 that has more damage and potentially more coverage, because like the 120 is usually good enough in most situations. Coming in at number 8, I'd recommend the Rocket Sentry. This one's a 5-button input, and this one I would say is probably one of the best turrets in the game. I'd probably say like this one and the auto cannon are both really good and generally better than most of the other turrets. It depends on the situation, but usually these ones will get you a lot of value. The Rocket Sentry has 150-second cooldown. This one's available at level 15, and this one will cost you 7,500 requisition slips. This one is really good though. This one can take out basically entire hordes. It can take out large single targets. So long as you put it safely away from the enemies, and so long as you don't stand in front of it or even behind it, you should be safe from this one. It's a very good turret overall if you want to be taking on just about any mission. It does really well against big enemies. Like, it's kind of funny how often you'll see like the Rocket Sentry just solo like a factory strider or solo multiple like Titans or Chargers or something. Sometimes that won't be the case. Sometimes you'll throw it down and a Charger will just run right towards it, knock it out before it even gets to target anything. But there are situations where this one can be super useful for just knocking out multiple things, and it's something that you don't really have to think about. Coming in at number 9, we have the Orbital Laser. Now the Orbital Laser is a little bit strange to put on this because it's the only one that I've put on here that actually has a limited amount of uses. And even though like the limited use things can become a problem in the later games, at least if your game ends up going to like 40 minutes long, then that can be kind of a problem. The Orbital Laser you get 3 uses of. This one's available at level 15. This one will cost you 10,000 requisition slips, and this is a 5-button input. This one also has a 300-second cooldown on it, so it does have a very long cooldown. The Orbital Laser is really strong though. You throw this one down and it will try to auto-target whatever is nearby. It does try to prioritize big enemies first. It can also aim for buildings, including the Illuminate ships and the bot factories. It won't go for bug tunnels, but it can still close up bug tunnels if it goes across them. It also leaves fire behind at anywhere that it goes. And this one can be a little bit dangerous if you throw it down near you when there's a bunch of enemies near you, because it might kill you too. The Orbital Laser is incredibly powerful and generally good on any sort of mission. We'll have to see how good it is on like the new underground missions that are coming out very soon. But this one is limited to only having 3 uses. Once you use up all 3 lasers, you don't get another laser, and it can be really disheartening when you throw out a laser or you drop a laser and you're basically out in the middle of a field and it does almost nothing, or it kills like 2 guys and then it just sits there and sprays at the ground in one spot. It's like, that really sucks. But this one can knock out entire like areas by itself, including all the enemies in it. It can solo basically anything. Space Laser is also really good for knocking out like the bot convoys on the higher difficulties. And then coming in at my number 10 spot and being the highest leveled weapon, we have the LAS-99 Quasar Cannon. So the Quasar Cannon is almost like a compromise between the EATs and also between the Recoilless Rifle, which we talked about before. This one is a 5-button input, has the same cooldown as pretty much all the weapons besides the EATs, and will cost you 7,500 requisition slips. Quite a lot. This one is a single shot cannon that you do need to charge up, and then it will fire out a projectile that does pretty much the same damage as like the EATs or the Recoilless, knocking out basically anything short of a factory strider. So that's really good. It also doesn't have any drop on it too, so unlike the Recoilless and with the EATs where you have to account for the drop, you don't have to do that with the Quasar. Just point it directly at something and it should hit it unless there's something else that gets in the way. Once this overheats, then you can just toss it on your back and you just wait for it to stop overheating. Then you go and do it again. And this one also pairs really well with EATs. I didn't mention that with the Recoilless Rifle, but it also pairs really well with them if you just want to be like the anti-tank guy. You can take both of them and knock out pretty much everything because it's really easy to charge up the Quasar Cannon, shoot something, drop it, pick up an EAT, shoot something else, pick up the other EAT, shoot it, pick up the Quasar Cannon, fire it again, and by that time you probably have your EATs back up so you can throw them down again, and you might have already killed like all the major threats just thanks to doing that. This one is very strong, and unlike the Recoilless, it doesn't take up your backpack slot either. So you can still carry like your warp pack, or you can carry like the shield generator backpack. I was thinking about putting that one on here too, but that one's even a little bit later, and that one's at level 20, but it is also really good. The Quasar Cannon is just very solid in pretty much every situation, and those would be my 10 picks for the best stratagems to get if you're low leveled. Again, if you've already taken a bunch of other stratagems and you're just unlocking everything, don't worry about this. Like, most of the stratagems, generally speaking, are pretty good. There's some that aren't really the best, and some that aren't necessarily the best in certain situations. Like, you don't want to be taking mines on, like, a primarily offensive mission. You can do that and you can still win. I know, because I've gotten in like random generated builds before and they've been fine, but it's not going to be as easy as taking, like, let's just say the Eagle Airstrike, where you can effectively knock out like bug tunnels or bot factories or whatever you're fighting. Hopefully this helped you out though. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye everybody.